Hey, hey, everybody. Welcome, welcome. We have a episode in store for you guys today. We've got a lot of we've got a few stories and some updates on a few stories. Let's see. We've got like four updates and a few new ones. So we've got a lot to talk about. You guys know how we always start out true crime with a little game. Just to, because as always, I always give you guys the trigger warning. All true crime cases, in my opinion, are trigger warnings. Some worse than others, and I will um, give other trigger warnings, especially like if it involves children and things like that. But because of that, I always like to say trigger warning. It is a true crime episode, and so yeah, we always start out with the smoking gun time waster. You can play this yourself as well. Just go to the smoking gun website and it is on there. Um, let's see here. So I hope you guys have had a great week so far. We get to celebrate my grandbaby's first birthday this weekend. So I am shocked that he is already about to be one. I cannot believe this year has went by. I mean, not even just this year. The pregnancy, then the whole year, it's crazy. Crazy. It just went so fast. I turn to mute and come back. Yes, yes, just like the one that we talked about with the lady and her children in Chicago. I let you guys know, like, hey, this clip's like 2 minutes long. If you want to come back in 2 minutes, go ahead and come back in 2 minutes, because I understand that to some people they can't, um, and I understand that. So, all right, uploading a video. All right, so let's start this out. Facebook, if you're on Facebook, you can go out of the live that you're in, scroll up to the top of the page, and there will be a link right there where you can join us over here on YouTube. Also, I'm on Kick, so hey to everybody over there on Kick. But after the games, I will be turning Facebook off. So here's how this works. We have five alleged criminals at the top, five crimes they could have committed. So we just have to match them. Just put it in the chat. Number one was the 304. Number one was the DV. So we've got a 304, domestic violence, battery with a deadly weapon, grand theft and drug possession, and sheltering unmarried minors. Which is weird that it's sheltering unmarried minors. Why wouldn't it just be sheltering minors? I That's weird to me. So yeah, what do we think? Let me know. I will randomly pick in the comments. There's no rhyme or reason. Thank you, Vicky. Three or four is prostitute. You gotta give me one. I'm waiting for my new debit card, so my membership went away. Okay, Tammy. Well, you'll be back on the green team in no time. Hopefully, it gets there by the weekend. If you guys are a part of the green team, I do a weekend live for members. I also drop stuff in there or post things that are members only. So definitely get in there. Hey, hey, caught a true crime. Love that. Thank you, sweets. I see your oh, is it back? Man, and mine was one of the channels that was left that had names instead of URLs. And now they have changed it back. Or I'm sorry, I have done it. Four is the 304. All right, that's what we're going with. Number four is the 304. What else we got? I do not like it. One is one. All right. Oh, you think one is the 304. Well, I mean, that look she's given could be for sure. Yes, I'm so excited. Remember, I'm gonna remember that you said one was the 304. Members live at 348. Hey, that's why you can do it on replay for sure. But I do members lives just whenever I have time. Usually I'm driving. Number two looks like Kimbo. Hey, madams. Yeah, I usually do the weekend lives. I seem to be driving a lot because I just do whenever I can. I do it in a different format. I'm usually on YouTube when I do it, not on Restream. And so I don't, sometimes I'll share videos if I'm if I'm at my computer, but usually we just talk and have conversations about what's going on and on things like that. All right, who do we think's DV? Who do you think stole the grand theft? You think number three is the 304? DV is number one. All right, let's do that. DV number one. And then we got battery, grand theft with the drug possession, and sheltering unmarried minors. That's maybe the older lady is the number two's that's what I was just getting ready to say. I think she may be the sheltering the minors. So we've got two left: battery or grand theft and rugs. Which is which, y'all? Which is which? Maybe two is. That's what I was thinking too. I think two is sheltering. Hey, Tammy, you think three is battery? All right, let's try it. Let's try it. 1 out of 5. Oh my goodness, the lady got grand theft. The only one we got right was domestic violence. All right, number 1 is DV. Number 2, I would have never guessed that. Grand theft and rug possession. Number 3, sheltering unmarried minors. Number 4, battery. We should have saw that RBF and we should have known. And number 5 was the 304. Look at that. All right, let's see what the previous one is. Oh, this one's different. Okay, so these are the alleged criminals at the top. We have to guess what is their occupation. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 at the top. 2 dudes, 3 girls, for what they look like. And we've got a stripper, a glass blower, a telemarketer, a massage therapist, and a red lobster host. What do y'all think? Let me know who is who. 2 is a glass blower. I think that too. I was gonna say the same. I was gonna say the same, May. Anyone else voting for a new game? Colette, you find me one and we'll play it. Stripper is 3. This is just to break the ice and have a little fun. You think number 1 was the stripper? 4 is the glass blower. I thought so too, Hoodbilly. Stripper is 5. 2 is glass. 4 is massage therapist. Okay. Now we've got a red lobster host and a telemarketer, and it's between 1 and 5. So who's the telemarketer? Who is the red lobster host? 1 is red lobster. I'll take it. And then we've got a telemarketer. Let's see how good we did. 1 out of 5. All right. Number 1 is the telemarketer. Number 2 is the glass blower. That's the one we got correct. I think everybody agreed on that one. Number 3 was the red lobster host. Number 4 was the stripper, y'all. He was the stripper. Number 5, massage therapist. There you have it. All right. So if you're on Facebook, make sure you're making your way over here because I am getting ready to say goodbye to you. Let me see here. Okay. Huh. All right, I'm gonna have to pull it up this way. I'm just getting the next videos lined out here while everybody from Facebook makes their way over here. Speak amongst yourselves. All right, let's see. Oh, there it is. Watch later. All right. All right, let's do the second. Yeah. All right, here we go. All right. So this is an update on a case that we talked about. I don't did we talk about it Tuesday? I think we may have talked about this case on Tuesday. Let me say goodbye to Facebook real quick. Bye, Facebook. So I believe we may have talked about this either Tuesday or last. Well, I don't think I was here last Thursday, so it had to be Tuesday. So this is an update on the Carnival, the 18-year-old girl who passed away on the Carnival cruise. We talked about this case, we didn't even know who she was even on the cruise with. So those some of those details have come out. So let's check this out. This is a bizarre case for sure.
A teenager died mysteriously nearly 2 weeks ago aboard a cruise ship in the Caribbean, and we still don't know exactly what happened.
But today we learned some disturbing new clues. Christian Benavides is following the investigation.
CBS News has learned that criminal charges may soon be filed against the step-sibling of Anna Kepner. The 18-year-old high school cheerleader from Titusville, Florida, was found dead on the Carnival cruise ship Horizon the
Hey,
morning of
hey.
November 7th. Few details have been released, but law enforcement sources told CBS News that Kepner's body was discovered by a housekeeper under the bed in her stateroom. She was on a family vacation with her father, stepmother, and 3 step-siblings at the time of the incident, and according to the Daily Mail, told her family the night before she died she was not feeling well and went back to her room. When she didn't show up for breakfast, a frantic search began.
Certainly, it just points a finger at some level of foul play.
Michael Winkleman is an expert in maritime law.
If Anna was out and about on the ship, there's ship security all over that vessel. They have an obligation to keep their passengers reasonably safe.
CBS News has also learned that investigators are now reviewing the ship's surveillance video and Kepner's cell phone data. They are also examining swipe card access that may have been used to enter the room. In a statement, Carnival Cruise Line said they are cooperating with the investigation. The senior was remembered at her high school, her car covered with balloons and flowers.
I can only imagine the pain that they're going through.
Because Kepner's death happened in international waters, the FBI is taking the lead in the investigation. We've reached out to Kepner's family, but have not heard back.
Okay.
Services for Kepner will be held on Thursday.
Okay. So as you heard, she was with her stepmom. Hold on. Sorry, it was playing in my ear and it bothers me. I can't talk and let it play in my headphones at the same time. But she was on the cruise with her stepmom, her um, step siblings, and family. But this part of it is very disturbing to me. Very disturbing to me. So let me show you this next video about this case as well. Like I said, we've got several to update. So we're gonna watch. A lot of the videos are shorter videos, but I like it that way because we can update a couple cases, you know.
Woman who was on board the cruise ship where a Titusville teen was killed is asking to stay away from a courtroom. Channel 9 has now learned tonight that her attorneys actually filed a motion that would prevent her from testifying at a hearing that's scheduled for December. It is a strange twist to this. Good evening. I'm Greg Warmoth.
And I'm Martha Sigalski. Channel 9's Giovanni Diaz has been digging through all the documents tonight. Gio, the motion says one of the woman's children could be involved in this criminal investigation, possibly as a sibling crime here.
That's correct, Martha, which is why, based on the documents we obtained earlier this afternoon, the attorney wanted to make sure that Chantel Hudson will not be in court for the next hearing. The motion was filed in Brevard County on Monday on behalf of Chantel Hudson. In it, the filing attorney says Hudson was on board of the cruise ship, along with one or more of her children, her boyfriend, and his daughter, 18-year-old Anna Kepner. Kepner from Titusville was found dead while on the vessel back on November 9th. The Carnival Horizon ship left to Miami and was headed to the Caribbean. Investigators had previously said the 18-year-old was found in a grim location. The FBI is now leading this investigation, and based on
And as you heard in that other clip, she was found, the housekeeper actually found her, and she was stuffed under the bed with blankets and life jackets put over top of her. No, Nick, when I reported it, we didn't know who she was with. The reports, we didn't know. They didn't say, like, we had no idea. I mean, she's 18, but you have to be 21 to be able to stay in a stateroom or whatever they call it. I don't know what Carnival calls it. In a cabin, you have to be 21 years of age to be able to stay in the room. You can't be 18. So we knew she was with someone that was of 20, like that had to be of age, or at least that was 21. But now we're finding out she was on that cruise with her family, and her stepmother, stepchildren, or her children, which would be her step siblings. But this woman is actually her stepmother, and she's filed a motion to not have to testify in court. it would be her child who they believe to be the suspect in this case, which would be the 18-year-old's step sibling.
The motion, the agency has advised that a criminal case could be brought against one or more of Chantel Hudson's minor children.
She has not identified herself as the target of a criminal investigation. She has basically said that she is afraid that anything she says could be used against one of her children.
This Orlando defense attorney has reviewed the case, and he says despite the attempt, the court proceeding is likely to move forward.
First of all, the court may say it's not relevant what took place on the cruise ship. Ms. Hudson has now propelled her children into the news spotlight needlessly. The FBI was not broadcasting that they were conducting a criminal investigation of the children.
And we have reached out to Ms. Chantel's attorneys for comments about this case. We'll let you know when we hear back. It's important to mention that so far no charges have been filed at all, and the FBI has not indicated publicly that charges will be coming.
So that right there screams something. That to me screams that she knew, something like that. Yeah, that's what. Well, Tina, there has to be an adult who is there. So if you look it up, which we looked it up on Tuesday, you have to have. I believe you're supposed to be 21, although they probably don't care because you could switch it around. But I'm sure the way they put it on your boarding pass is probably they had one adult in one and another adult in the other. But either way, we knew she had to have been with someone that was 21 or older to be in the cabin, period. So yeah, but it come to find out it was her, her family. But to me, that screams guilt, either for her or her children or something, because the fact that the girl hasn't even had her services yet, but you're putting in a motion to not have to testify at a trial where there's been no arrest made, that's huge to me because I'm like, wait, what? Which I didn't even know that was even possible. Again, considering there's been no arrest. So I'm like, what? That just doesn't make sense to me. All right, here is another news story that we had not talked about, but I wanted to talk about it because of the new update, and also it is also an influencer who had a crash because she was filming a selfie video is what they called it. But she was basically filming a video for her social media. I never heard that either, Roxanne, especially because, right, I wonder how the dad feels about that. Madams, it makes me feel like they all know. Like I feel like the stepmom 100% has to know, right? Not only that, I don't know. I just feel like if that's your wife and she's putting in a motion not to have to testify, like something's up at this point. I mean, you would have to know. But yeah, so this influencer was filming herself and for her social media, and she crashed, which we've heard a lot about this lately, it seems. But look at that car. Check this out.
Media influencer will spend 3 to 9 years in prison for mowing down a mother and her children. 33-year-old Miriam Urimi taking a plea deal for killing 3 of the family members back in March.
Fox 6's Arthur Sheehan is live in Brooklyn, where the community says the sentence is just too light for the crime. Arthur.
Natasha, Steve, it'll happen officially here tomorrow, the sentencing, but already tonight, many are reacting to news that this driver who mowed down this mother and her children back in March will serve as little as 3 years in prison. 33-year-old Miriam Urimi was the driver who plowed into the mother and her 3 children, wiping out that Brooklyn family on Ocean Parkway. Urimi pleaded guilty to manslaughter last month. Now, of her victims, 3 died, including Diana and Deborah, along with their mother. The daughters were just 5 and 8 years old. Their mother, Natasha, was 34. Urimi was driving with a suspended license, and her car had over 90 tickets in the year leading up to the crash. But despite her history, the Brooklyn judge is about to sentence her to 3 to 9 years.
She had over 90 tickets, which I understand she's in the city, so maybe that's like a lot of parking tickets and moving violations and stuff like that. Um, did you see the video of press interview? Anna's ex-boyfriend. No, who's Anna? Anna? What? No, I didn't see that. But yeah, this is crazy. This is why I had not talked about this case because I didn't know about this case. But the fact that she got sentenced and she mowed down an entire family, which resulted in 3 of them being gone from this earth. Like she took 3 family members away because she was recording a friggin' selfie video. Again, that's what they called it, selfie video. But she was filming herself. She mowed them down and then she gets 3 to 9 years. So she is going to serve likely a year for each person that she took out of this world. 1 year per life. If you think about it and you put it in those, oh no, I did not see that. I did not see that. Um, if you take it in that context and you think about it, that she will serve 1 year per body to me, what she did is no different than if she went out here and took someone out of this earth, like manslaughter. Obviously, it's manslaughter because she didn't intentionally mean to do it. But to me, that's just this. I mean, you're taking a life from even if it is due to your negligence behind, and she was on a suspended license, so she wasn't even supposed to be driving, and she gets 3 to 9 years? 3 I just couldn't. I had to share it with you guys.
And that's despite the Brooklyn DA's request for up to 15 years. Now, in a statement to Fox 5 tonight, Brooklyn District Attorney Eric Gonzalez says, quote, the lives of Natasha Seda and her young daughters were stolen by the callous choices of a chronically reckless driver on Ocean Parkway. Though the proposed sentence falls short of the maximum we sought, it will send a clear message that reckless driving that ends in tragedy will be met with serious penalties. Now, we asked a former prosecutor from this very office if as little as 3 years sends a clear message. He explained the law to us.
This is what's called an indeterminate sentence, and so the judge can range. So the minimum is 1 to 3 years, the max is 5-15, and so the judge can basically, what he did was sort of go in the middle of those 2 potential sentences.
Is that just in your view?
It's a situation that obviously on the outside sounds terrible, but for everyone involved, it may be just because it avoids family members of this person, of the deceased, having to come to court and testify.
Now, part of why this 3-year minimum is drawing some attention tonight is because Urimi's driving history, at least 20 of those 90 tickets we mentioned on her car were for speeding, and and then at that, the vast majority of them were in school zones. Now, the city had a so-called super speeder law in place that street safety advocates say would have slowed Urimi down, but that law was allowed to expire during Mayor Adams' administration, and they did not replace it. Now, street safety advocates are lobbying once again for Albany to pass a new super speeder law.
The sad truth is that 75% of drivers with suspended licenses continue to drive anyway. This driver had a suspended license, but she still got behind the wheel. And frankly, there are lots of other drivers like her out there. We have to stop them from killing people by physically limiting the speed that their vehicle can travel at if they've proven themselves to be a repeat reckless driver.
That law passed the state Senate this year, but the state assembly held it up. Those advocates hope to take it up again next year and for it to pass next year. As for Urimi's hearing, it will be held here at this courthouse on J Street tomorrow. We'll bring you the latest when it does happen. But for tonight, we're live in downtown Brooklyn. Arthur Chien, Fox 5 News. Steve, Natasha, back to you guys.
All right, thanks, Arthur.
Sorry, I didn't know I was muted. She was known as the wig maker. She even had, is that who it was? Yeah, who ran over and killed a mother. And yeah, she was. I just want to make sure because I don't remember. That car didn't look like an Aldi, but I guess that was a car she ran into. She was a social media influencer that had her following because she was what they called a wig maker. She even had that license plate. It says, but that's all they say about her, that they say that she got what's called a sweetheart deal. But yeah, so I guess wig maker I guess she made wigs. That's what it looks like. They just said it was a Brooklyn influencer. And it's so sad because Natasha was holding hands with her three children, Diana, who was 8, Deborah 5, and Philip, who was 4. And Philip did survive, the 4-year-old. But yes, she was a wig maker. Shout out to Blicky, member for 2 months. We missed you, Connie. Oh, thank you. I've just been working more than I have, before. So, it takes up a little bit more time, but I try to be here when I can. I love y'all for always supporting me. Thank you so much, Blicky. Shout out to Christine, member for 4 months. Oh shit, 4 months. All right, let's get back into another case here. I have to keep switching back and forth between accounts. That's why it's taking me a little bit longer because I don't want to have the commercials on them. I think this one is on my page. I think I put a video up on my page about this one. This is also an update to a tragic case out of North Carolina, where the dad, I'm sure you guys remember this case, where the dad called into 911 to let the police know that he had taken his 4 children, well, 3 of his children and a stepson, out of this world over the course of from May until he called in October. Sadly, the case has only gotten worse. Shout out to Wildflower, member for 4 months. Thank you for everything you do, Connie. Love you. Hashtag love being an outlaw. Love you back. Yeah, it seems like there's no justice in the cases you would think would have like justice, and then the cases that you like people that do like this lady got 3 to 9 years for 3 lives, 2 children and a mother walking her children. And then you see other cases where people get these like 100-year sentences for things that weren't, in my opinion, as bad as taking out 3 people. Like it just doesn't. Our justice system, in my opinion, is broken and it needs to be completely revamped, like everything else in our country. But I digress. Shout out to Bonnie. We need to demand better laws and sentences. Yeah, for sure. Shout out to 2T's, member for 4 months. Thank you so much. It is. It's just crazy to me. I just see some of the stuff. I'm like, what? But this case has gotten even worse, guys. If it could get any worse, it has gotten worse. Also, I did find out that his wife, if you guys remember, his wife had passed in 2024, like the spring of 2024. And then he was left with these children by himself. He was left with, his stepson, who was a teenager. I think he was 18 at the time he passed, and then 4 other children. Now, if you remember, the 3-year-old was found to be alive and unharmed when the police got there. But there were 3 of his children and his stepson that was 18. He had put them all in the trunk. They were all wrapped and in the trunk. And he had done this at different times over the course of the months. But we found out that his wife had actually passed away in spring of 2024. And I keep wondering if something's going to come out about her death, because they say that she passed at home, like suddenly. She passed at home. Now, if he did this to his children, who's to say he did not do that to his wife? And the fact that she passed at home, and she was like in her early 30s, I believe. Yeah, 4/21/24 is when she passed away. So April 21st, and she was 37 years old. 37 years old. Now, the kids were allegedly homeschooled, but he had not registered them properly. So it fell through the cracks, obviously. Now, there's a couple lawsuits. He was actually charged with a misdemeanor child abuse in 2015, which was dismissed. Now, in 2016, they had a little girl that was born. Her name was Zoe. Hospital staff actually had issues with him, and they refused what they called routine health. Now, I had talked about it, and on one thing that we had watched, they said jaundice. Now, you can get to where it's so bad they need a blood transfusion. However, and that would be covered under religion, because some religions, they don't believe in blood transfusions. However, on this latest report, it says that they refused the hospital to even examine the little girl, and that they ended up taking them to court to be able to examine the child, and found the dad in contempt of court because of it. They ended up, him and his wife actually ended up leaving the hospital before they were discharged. Can you imagine having a child in the USA and you give birth, you refuse for them to even examine your child, and then you guys leave the hospital before you're even discharged? Can you imagine? So he sued the hospital for that lawsuit, and it was thrown out. Now, here's another one. He had another lawsuit in 2017. Um, it looks like with the county that he's in. And he says that he signed something to do with his DNA, something to do with paternity of his children. And there was some kind of statute in there about child support. And he sued the county because he says that they went against his religious rights, because the statute number includes the numbers 666. So because of that, he said that they went against his religion and had him sign a piece of paper that was basically a representation of the devil. And he even, in the court documents, he even cited in the Bible where they talk about the 666 and it being associated with the devil and things like that. So it seems like they have a very strange past. But look at this update that has just came through about this. And like I said, you thought it could not get worse, and it just keeps getting worse.
Joining us on this Monday afternoon, I'm Barbara Gibbs.
And I'm Amber Rapinta. According to search warrants, Dickens told authorities his 1-month-old daughter died shortly after he and his now deceased wife moved into their home in Zebulon. Dwan Hogart is in that neighborhood this afternoon. So, Dwan, according to Dickens, he buried that newborn in the woods behind the family's home.
Yeah, Amber, and I'm standing just several hundred yards, just about 100 yards, I'll say, directly behind me here. I'll have photojournalist Matt Morrison zoom in to where investigators allegedly shifted their focus on there. That is because of the brand new details that we are learning from these newly unsealed search warrants, where investigators say that Wellington Dickens III told authorities a 1-month-old child died shortly after the family moved here to the home in 2023 and allegedly buried that child right here.
It's horrible.
Weeks after neighbors here in this quiet Zebulon neighborhood learned one of their neighbors confessed to allegedly killing his 3 children and his stepson, we're learning a 5th child, a 1-month-old, died shortly after the family moved here. And since his arrest, Dickens telling law enforcement officers that the child's body is buried about 4 feet underground in the woods directly behind their home.
I know it's very sad and very upsetting and distressing that every view from my house is looking on that man's backyard in the woods where he supposedly buried that poor child.
Peggy and Sarah's backyard looks directly into the woods where Dickens says his 1-month-old is buried. We're also learning the sheriff's office brought Dickens back to this scene on October 31st in shackles to help in the search to find that infant, but no body was found.
Anybody can be somebody that we don't think they are.
Shout out to Shanice for that super
And several
chat.
neighbors here, do
you need more help with the Thanksgiving? No, now we are just rallying until December 1st for the Christmas. And then we will do the same way we did with Thanksgiving and pick families for Christmas help.
Tell me that they saw agents out here not just on October 31st, but also just as recently as last week. Several dozen agents that these neighbors here tell me that they saw all canvassing around the woods back here. They tell me that day that no body was found. And again, as of right now, we've yet to learn of any body found in the woods here behind me. We're continuing to follow the latest here from Zebulon. We're live in Zebulon this afternoon. Dwan Hogart, ABC 11, Eyewitness News.
Okay, so yes, 5 children, because if you guys remember this case when I covered it, he called in to 911 and he let them know that he had murdered his 4 children. Now there are 6 children altogether. So there are 5 of his biological children and 1 stepchild. Now, as we know, there was a 3-year-old that was found in the home with Dickens when he called 911 that was unharmed. There were 3 of his biological children and 1 stepson that he had put in the trunk. Now he is saying with this affidavits come out, he told authorities that him and his wife actually had a baby and it passed away a month after they moved into that home. Now they did not say when they moved into that home, so I don't have a timeline on when that child would have been born. And I don't know, was the child born at home? Is that maybe while the mom passed away? Like I would love to know the timeline for that because if they maybe they got scared to go back to the hospital to have their children after the incidents that happened. So maybe they had a home birth, something happened. But he says that when they moved in, that the baby had died um, a month after they moved in. But it also makes me question, did the wife know that he buried the child? Shout out to Shanice for that super chat. I'll donate for Christmas. I'll let you know when to do it. Okay, thanks, Shanice. Shout out to Mandy, member for 4 months. Hey, 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 hey. Yeah, Tina Vina. So, and he says that he was doing weird things with their food and like punishing them. He said that he had beat on one of them. They have not put out the causes of death for each child, but he does go into it a little bit in the 911 call. And again, if you missed that, it's on the true crime, I believe, from the week before last. Um, but yeah, it's just a horrible update on that cast. Now, I will say that the area that he told officials that the baby was buried 4 feet under the ground, they did not recover the body yet. So I don't know if he is. I don't know if this is true. If it's not, I don't see why he would say it if it wasn't, given that he has admitted to the other 4 children that he, um, you know, was the reason that they left this world. So I don't see why he and thank goodness the one thing out of this story, and I know it's such a tragedy, but thank God that the 3-year-old was able to survive. And I pray for that 3-year-old because uh, the whole family is gone. Even the dad will be in prison for life. So yeah, it's just a heartbreaking story. A month old, and he had a previous child abuse conviction. Well, he didn't get a conviction, Christine. So in 2015, he was charged with misdemeanor child abuse, but that was later dismissed. Um, he did get charged with the contempt of court because of the hospital incident with his little girl Zoe, who who was one of the children that was in the trunk. Um, she would have been the 8-year-old. So, or wait, maybe she was young. She would 2016, so she'd have been what, 7? So yeah. Yeah, that's what I was gonna say too. Hopefully, the child does not remember anything either. But just a horrible update in that out of North Carolina with the Dickens case for sure. And I will continue to update that as it goes, as it continues to go further, and we may even have more revelations about, what is going on. Okay, so we got that one, that one, that one. Played that one. All right, let's see if this one's updated. I think I was uploading the video. It uploaded. Yes. Okay, so let's watch this one because this is one I was going to break this all down like from the beginning to the end, but there's so much that's coming out about this David case or D4 case um that I just wanted to give this update, and then maybe once stuff starts, because it's coming out, maybe I'll do a whole like start to finish type thing. But I just wanted to give you guys the D4 update because a lot of people have been asking about this. I have covered this. If you don't remember or you may not know who D4 is, this is the body that was found in the Tesla back in September. And it was a decomposing body that was dismembered, if you guys remember. And we've covered it a couple times. So I wanted to give you guys this update.
Live, we broke a big story. There is movement in the case involving the death of a friend of singer David's, Celeste Rivas, who was found dead in his trunk back in early September. We now know that LAPD homicide investigators believe her death was a homicide and say he is the suspect. Even though it has not formally come out as suspect, they have eyes on David as the guy who they think did it.
Right. What they have uncovered to this point leads them to believe that he is the suspect and that this is a homicide. Now, we should say that the medical examiner has still not returned the toxicology results.
Nor has determined the cause of death.
Determined manner or cause of death.
And manner or cause of death is officially important because the coroner needs to weigh in, but it's not necessary. Even if the coroner said undetermined, and we don't know what he's going to say, or what the coroner will say, but even if they say undetermined, LAPD can still press forward with a homicide. But and we'll get into why the medical examiner hasn't weighed in yet, because there's a backstory here. But here's the deal. We know, as everybody does, that her body was found cut up in his trunk in early September. There is a really critical fact here, and that fact is this. According to investigators, we are told that they have evidence that David made a mysterious trip in the middle of the night back in the spring of this year to a remote area of Santa Barbara County, around 100 miles from L.A.
That, I think, the key part of that...
And spent a couple of hours there.
...is that it was a remote area, and, yeah, as you said, spent a few hours there. We don't know anything more than that at this point.
But here's what we know, because some people are saying, well, would he have brought Celeste there? The way it was put to us was not that he and Celeste went to this remote area, it was David went. So, look, there are a couple of theories, and I'm not going to, say these are true. These are theories.
Mm-hmm. You think you're fine after a car accident until this happens. Most people...
So, look, there are a couple of theories, and I'm not going to, say these are true. These are theories.
Mm-hmm. My bad.
Could be a body. It could be a weapon. But what's mysterious about this is if she, say, was killed in the spring, where was the body for June, July, August, and finally September?
There is still a whole other chapter of this to unfold, that what happened between whatever happened in the spring in that remote area of Santa Barbara, and then to go all the way to September and Celeste's body being found in the trunk of that Tesla parked here in the Hollywood Hills. There's who knows what could have happened at that point. But
the one thing we were told was, don't try and use logic necessarily.
Right.
Because it may not be kind of a logical explanation.
Well, we also know that we had broken that story a couple months ago that LAPD did the sweep of the house that he was renting in the Hollywood Hills. They had tested it, forensics, and we know they're still waiting for some of those forensics to come back in addition to the toxicology from the medical examiner. Could he have killed her in the house? Again, just a theory. Could he have killed her in the house and then drove her to Santa Barbara and had planned to just get rid of the body in Santa Barbara and then panic and drive back to LA with her body in the car?
He was there for a couple of hours, and that's what's interesting. Right. Why, if you're going to dispose, why would you be there a couple of hours? And there's a lot we don't understand about that. But we do know this. Santa Barbara is critical. And again, a theory, but I think this is a good one, that I think authorities believe her death was around that time. Because that trip is something that is front and center for LAPD robbery homicide.
One other very critical fact is that we're told that they believe the manner in which her body was dismembered leads them to believe that whoever did that, whoever dismembered her body, had help, that it was not just one person who was involved in the dismembering of her body.
And that in itself is interesting.
And that is interesting because that means they are, and whether they know who those people are, but we don't know that they have any other suspects.
And
But
finally,
it does mean that there could be other arrests beyond whoever killed her.
And finally, to close this loop, why 2.5 months after the body was found has the medical examiner not determined cause of death and not given the toxicology report to the LAPD? I know it can take months for both of those to happen, but in high-profile cases, it can be accelerated. And it's weird to me that it wasn't. What I got back was the relationship between the medical examiner and the LAPD has been strained over the last few years. I'm not sure why. It's not unusual that that happens because sometimes they're working, they're technically working on the same.
It's so sad to me, and I understand that people have issues with each other, but it's so sad to me when I see these cases, just like I mention it all the time, like the Gilgo Beach serial killer, like that case in itself, because I can't even remember, it was like the sheriff and the I don't even remember, but it was a politician and a sheriff or something had issues, or maybe it was two, like the county and the city. I can't remember exactly what it was, but like these agencies have issues with each other. In this case, the medical examiner and the LAPD, which if you guys don't know, the coroner, medical examiner, or whatever works closely. The deputy coroners, they're cops. They work very closely with law enforcement. Um, so if they have an issue, that's not going to be a good thing. But I see it all the time in these true crime cases where cases were basically halted or it took longer or things like this happen because they have issues amongst themselves. It's so strange to me. It's like if I had an issue with a doctor, would I take it out on the patient? No. And I don't understand why these issues between law enforcement in itself gets taken out on the victims and the victim's family. It just doesn't make sense to me.
Path, but a lot of times they butt heads. But I'm
Right,
told the
Lita?
relationship wasn't the greatest, and they may not have fast-tracked it as a result. We don't know, but it seems weird to me 2.5 months in, you still don't know anything like that.
I would imagine that it is more difficult to nail down those results if the body had been decomposed. Let's say if indeed she met her demise back in the spring and the body is not discovered until September, does that amount of decomposition make it harder?
And we should just mention the decomposition. They didn't know when they discovered the body whether it was even male or female. They couldn't tell. And actually, it all came about because we got a tip and ended up calling Celeste's mom because we knew about this tattoo on her index finger. Right. We called the mom, and the mom mentioned it was a red tattoo. So we called LAPD homicide and spoke to the lead investigator, gave him the mother's name and phone number, and mentioned that it was a red tattoo.
Yep.
And a day or two later, they identified her as Celeste.
Isn't that nuts? Like they were the ones that basically helped them identify. That in itself is crazy to me. But yeah, so they have this D4 and he became famous. Basically, he went viral with his music. The song Romantic Homicide in 2022, and he's like I guess they call him a Gen X artist kind of thing. But and this girl had been missing since 2024, but she's a missing teenager. And then she was live with him on, I think it was Twitch. And so he was having this relationship with her. They had matching tattoos, which is what obviously that's what identified her was the tattoo she had on her index finger. Was it index finger? And it matched him. And he had made songs basically about her demise. I mean, this whole case is just so strange. Um, but they are now saying, they in the toxicology hasn't come back, none of that. It's been 2.5 months. Uh, but yes, she was. I know Colette asked, was she dismembered and decomposing? Yes. But they have him going out there to this remote location, staying for hours, and then coming back. And so that was in April. So they're thinking does that line up? Like they're thinking her death was probably around that time. Now they don't know if he went out there to stash a weapon, if like somebody said, did he go out there with her? Did he leave her out there and then bring her back? That is a good one too, because did he take her out there, stash her somewhere, and then go back? But see, they don't have him going back, I don't think. So if he had to go, if he went back to get her, then they would have had that trip as well. Unless, maybe he didn't take the phone with him, which it always amazes me that people take their phones on trips like this. It's just crazy. He is a musical genius, making songs all from his phone and headphones in a wardrobe. That's crazy. But yeah, so just so much in this case that you're just like, what? Um, and they said that the Tesla was parked on the street for a little bit, then it was, taken to that the destination where it was ultimately found in that parking lot. Let's see. All right, let's go to next one. But yeah, this case it's definitely got its twists and turns, that's for sure. Counts real quick. See the commercials. No. How'd it go away? Second, guys. There it is. Okay. This is another update on a case that we talked about. This is Mimi Torres, I believe is her last name, is how you say it. She was the little girl that had actually been taken out of this world a year in 2024, but she was not discovered until October of 2025 behind a abandoned home in a town over from where her family actually lived. And now since we talked about it, her mom, I believe it was a stepdad or her mom's boyfriend, and her aunt were actually arrested for this. But her cause of death has been revealed, and the mother actually did admit some things. So I wanted to give you guys this update. Oh, it was the Tesla camera. Oh, the Tesla camera. The Tesla camera is definitely coming. Oh, that's right. Hold on a second. I'm actually going to go to a different one. My bad, you guys. I totally forgot about this one. I'm glad you said Tesla because it made me think of it. Because I just realized how long I've already been live here. There's just so many cases that are out there right now to talk about that have happened and updates. That's the thing, is it's not, it's that I like to give the updates on the cases we've already talked about, because we want to know what's been going on. Yes, definitely hit that thumbs up for me. I'd greatly appreciate it. And if you're watching this on the replay, hashtag replay for me.
This is not. Get here! Hurry up and get here! Who's calling me? Hurry up and get here!
Welcome to another episode of True Crime with your host, me, Feminine and Fierce. This is the sad case of girl Lala, who was sadly taken out of this world by her significant other. Let's take a listen.
I don't miss this bitch. I don't like this bitch, and I hate everything about this bitch. And that's the God honest truth. I just deal with her because there's no escape for me. There's nowhere for me to go. What woman is gonna want me? I don't want to deal with Lala ass for real. When we happy, we happy. But that'd be so rare. I could give a fuck less about that relationship. And she know. Right before she went to jail, I asked God, I say, if this relationship not for me, please remove these people out of my life. And her ass went to jail. What we talking about?
It's 1 something in the morning. Why is I'm outside at McDonald's sitting on low? Cause the nigga decided to pop up to my friend's house trying to kill me. Like, bruh, I don't know what my mama done blessed me with, but Fat One's doing this thing, cause it got a nigga like literally outside my friend's house, like 2 miles away, trying to get to me. Like, this boy is cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. Like, Bruh, he already done slapped me in my mouth tonight.
You know what I'm saying? This is my second son. I done lost. You know what I'm saying? This is my second son. I done lost. I'm asking them to let me out before I hurt somebody or before I hurt myself, man. Just let me out. I just lost my second son. Just let me out the hospital before I hurt myself or before I hurt somebody. Just let me out, man.
Right here.
Please, man.
Luckily for the prosecution, there are several videos of Lala's last moments that were all captured.
Someone clear my set.
Hello, bro, please, I need help. Please, I need help.
A young, vibrant TikTok influencer is dead, allegedly at the hands of her own boyfriend. And now he's behind bars as her family and friends are preparing to hold memorial services. They want to spread the word about the dangers of domestic violence. We are going to get into everything in this case. The surveillance footage and the audio from the 911 call the suspect allegedly made to police on that fateful night that gives us new insight into this purported crime. On Friday, November 14th, 21-year-old Maurice Harrison was gunned down in Lauderdale Lakes, Florida. Now, Harrison, a transgender woman who used the name Girl La La La, or just La La, on social media, had thousands of followers. Her videos on TikTok and Instagram, they not only included these glam shots of elaborate wigs and nails, but also of her day-to-day life. Often featured in Lala's videos was her boyfriend of several years. We're talking about 25-year-old Shanoid White Jr., the former defensive lineman on the football team at Bethune-Cookman University, is sometimes referred to online as Shaba or Wig Snatcher. And while some of the videos showed the two of them in this, loving relationship, there were several posts where Lala talked about getting into physical fights with White. She posted videos and photos at one point showing bruises, cuts, a swollen eye. We're going to get back to that in a minute. But based on social media posts, we know that Lala tried to play it off as no big deal in some of the posts, joking about how White would react to behavior that he didn't like. There were other posts that showed her acting more fearful, posting things like, "I'm scared." And in some of his own videos, White seemed frustrated that a lot of his followers were only paying attention to him because he was dating Lala.
Check this out. If you follow me, right? If you follow me and you watch my TikTok only because I date Lala, get the off my page. Get off my page. I don't want nobody who me because you with them. I want people who me because they with me.
Now, according to Broward County authorities, things came to a head on November 14th, just before 7 p.m., when White allegedly shot Lala multiple times, killing her. Investigators say a video provided them with critical evidence that led to White. And I want to be clear about the law here, whether or not this is first-degree murder. So as we go through it, let's talk about this. I want to talk about this key piece of evidence that Broward County investigators got their hands on. It is a camera on a Tesla that appears to have captured the moments right after White allegedly fired a gun at Lala. So the Tesla was parked on Northwest 37th Street, and a Chevrolet Malibu pulled up and parked nearby. Now, White can allegedly be seen getting out of the driver's seat, walking to the passenger side, holding something in his hand. The footage is grainy, but authorities posit that that was a gun, and Lala can arguably be seen leaning out of the passenger side door, and White appears to push her back into the car, setting her upright in the seat. Now, the arrest affidavit states that White pulled Lala up by her hair. The affidavit reads, quote, White's vehicle pulled into the driveway and both doors opened momentarily before closing. The driver's door then reopened and a black male, later identified as White, was seen removing what appeared to be a firearm from his waistband with his right hand and firing into the vehicle toward the front passenger seat where the victim was seated. A visible muzzle flash was captured on the video. The front passenger door then opened and the victim was observed slumped over. Immediately afterward, White walked around the vehicle holding what appeared to be a black firearm, then pulled the victim upright by her hair. Now, the warrant states that when emergency crews arrived, this victim was sitting in a pool of blood. And again, authorities say she was shot multiple times. How often do you have video footage of an alleged crime like this? Video footage of an alleged murder like this?
You know, what we're seeing is more and more, not just surveillance video from homes and businesses, but
I think he definitely knew. I mean, I think she was very open about the fact that she was trans. But that video of that man in the hospital saying that was her dad. And that's why he said, this is my second son that I have lost. let me out of this hospital. He had just found out that she was no longer here anymore. But what's crazy is that a Tesla, that's why when they said Tesla, it reminded me. A Tesla is what recorded this on from the car. A Tesla recorded her final moments, and you can see him getting out of the car, walking around. You can see that he's got what they believe to be and what I can see uh, to be a pew pew in his hand. And she tries to get out of the car, and he takes her by the hair and puts her back in the car. Um, he was a defensive lineman, so I saw that there was some clips of him on ESPN and things like that, but I just can't believe that it was a Tesla that recorded it. As much as we talk about surveillance videos of businesses and gas station, well, I mean, a gas station's a business, but businesses and residents and dash cams and things like that, that's changing the game. I mean, and it doesn't even, I like, it's just, I mean, yes, it's grainy footage, but you could still make out who it was, what they were doing. You can still make out what happened, and they could see the flashbang on the video. Oh my goodness, that means it got age restricted. They're probably reporting it, PW. So that just means it got age restricted. That's crazy. They've been reporting every video that I've done.
But cars that actually have the video recording capability, like Teslas, and it's a brand new area, but it does capture. There have been a number of cases where the Tesla video has been used in court to establish what prosecutors need, and it's remarkable that in this case we had so much evidence, so much video taken by a vehicle that ultimately is going to be used by the prosecution.
Is there any way a defense attorney can make sure that evidence doesn't make its way into trial? Is there chain of custody issues, anything like that?
They can always try. They can always try to keep it out. But at the end of the day, this is, I mean, the video doesn't lie. And that's what prosecutors love about that. And when you're getting cars that are actually recording crimes as they happen, I mean, that's gold for a prosecutor.
We're still in the beginning stages of this, but it does make me wonder if you have something that clear, right? Would a defense attorney say, listen, we can't argue what it shows, but we can argue the context of it. In other words, maybe it's not first-degree murder, maybe it's manslaughter, maybe it's something, maybe it's heat of passion. Am I totally outside the realm of thinking that could be a possibility?
No, that's exactly right, and that's what the defense has to do. They have to try to knock down a first-degree. Remember, first-degree premeditation can take place in an instant, essentially.
Hello. 911. Hello, please, I need help. Please, I need help.
911, what is the address to your emergency? Hello? Hello? Can you hear me?
Yes, I don't know the address, bro. Just check. Just check, please.
Okay, are you at a house, apartment, or business?
Yes, I'm at a house.
Okay, tell me exactly what happened. Tell me exactly what happened.
Please.
Okay, we have a call incident for service. Who's...
Come on. All right, thank you.
Stay on the line with me.
Hello?
Yes,
hello?
This is 911. Stay on the phone with me, okay?
Yes, hello?
This is 911.
Hello?
This is 911.
Get here, hurry up and get here. Who's calling me? Hurry up and get here.
Stay on the line with me. I need you to stay on the line with me, okay? Tell me
Please.
on the way. I need you to stay on the line with me, okay? Stay on.
All right.
Do not disconnect. Are you able to give me a good address? Stay on the line with me, okay?
All right.
They're coming as quickly as they can, okay? They're coming. They're on the way. Me and you talking is not delaying them. Stay on the phone with me. Stay on the line with me.
So there's this affidavit that was seen by the Sun Sentinel, and it reportedly says that White told investigators he and Lala had several arguments that day, that they got into another fight in the car after Lala pulled his hair. And the affidavit, again, according to the Sun Sentinel, reads, quote, White advised that he then pulled his firearm but declined to provide any further details, stating he did not want to incriminate himself. Now, John, you're an attorney. Doesn't necessarily mean someone's guilty if they don't want to provide more information to police. They're just trying to protect their rights, right? They're trying to protect their argument at a trial, right?
Right.
But it also could look bad.
Well, again, the jury is not going to hear anything about him exercising Fifth Amendment rights in terms of not being able to, the jury can't use that to say, well, this is an indication of guilt. The judge is not going to allow that. It's unconstitutional. He has a right.
she died. And White was charged with first-degree murder with a firearm. He's been locked up in the Broward County Jail, no bond since Friday. I want to ask about a potential piece of evidence that may come in, because NBC 6 is reporting that after this happened, there were those online, obviously I said Lala has a ton of followers, there are those online, and I mentioned this kind of before, who have found these old videos allegedly showing potential domestic violence in the relationship. An example of Lala with an apparent cut on her nose.
Why did it do that? Did it mute? I'm not muted. You can't hear me? I plugged in my phone. Did it mute the video? Is that what it did? Or what? Hold on. Did it mute the video? Can you hear me now? Let me know, let me know, let me know. Yes. I can hear for a second. I just plugged my phone in. Okay, so you could hear.
First-degree murder, and I mentioned this kind of before, who have found these old videos allegedly showing potential domestic violence in the relationship. An example of Lala with an apparent cut on her nose and eye. Do prosecutors do a full deep dive into the relationship? Do they go through all of the social media to potentially find prior alleged instances of domestic violence? And can they use that at trial?
Well, it's a valuable tool. Investigators want to know what's the history here, what were the signs that pointed to this being something other than just a random moment in time. If there was an ability for prosecutors to build a case that there were a number of domestic violence incidents, that's going to certainly help them. Whether it comes in or not, it's going to be up to a judge, and whether the defense can keep that out as conduct that's not relevant to the jury's decision making. So, but if you're investigating this case, you want to know every single incident that came up, because you've got to be able to build a case against this defendant to argue that this was not just an aberrational moment in time, that this was something that was leading up to a tragic result ultimately.
Y'all thought I was capping in it. Everybody in there be getting right. Behind it. Getting that record clean. I'm talking about I'm finna spread my wings now.
Okay, so I showed that last little part because they are alleging that he filmed that after he had already taken her life. I don't believe that, because he was talking about his record being clean and he could be free and he was about to spread his wings. It looked like he may have been in like a DMV or courthouse. I don't know, but if you noticed, whenever the event happened, it was nighttime and he was arrested on scene. So how could he have recorded a video in the daytime after the incident happened? That just didn't make sense to me. So I wanted to play it. I wanted to put it on the end just so I could show you guys, because I'm like, what sense what sense does that video make? I don't know. Maybe you guys will recognize like what exactly where he is, but if you look at it, let me show you. Let me just play that little part again.
Result ultimately.
Y'all thought I was capping.
Okay, right here. See, it says Girl Lala's boyfriend allegedly posted this shortly after he unalived her. And then he captioned it, fixing to be free. So, again, the incident happened at night and he was arrested on scene, right? So, I don't know.
In it. Everybody in there be getting right.
Or maybe not on scene, but shortly after. So, I don't think this is after the incident happened.
Behind it. Getting that record clean. I'm talking about I'm finna spread my wings now.
Is Kimbo in here? Is Kimbo in here watching true crime? Or are you just saying that? Oh, I was like, what? Oh, yeah. Okay, so let me play this one last video for you guys to round it out, because I know we had a lot of stuff. But I kind of like it, like updating on multiple different stories, because there's just so much that's going on right now, and so many stories that we've covered that I want to give updates about and want to talk about. But Mimi was the little girl that we talked about that, like I said, she had passed away or had been unalived. At least we thought, unalived. the year before, and she was found in a tote, and they, found out that she had actually been, obviously they knew from the decomposition she had been gone for a while. But now the warrants have come out, and Jacqueline Mimi Torres Garcia passed away in September of 2024, and the mother admits to what she did.
Now, we have new information related to the death of Jacqueline Torres Garcia. Search warrants now show her mother admitted to starving her for 2 weeks leading up to her.
Yes, Colette, it's on the screen. I just forgot to read it out. Shout out to Colette for that super chat. You'll never stop us or Connie. Shout out to you, Colette. I forgot to read it. I put it up there and I was letting the video play. My bad.
Her death, which she says happened back in September of 2024. Your chief investigative reporter, Sam Smink, got access to those troubling warrants earlier today. She's joining us live in the studio right now with more. Sam, this is so upsetting.
It really is, Kara. The details in those search warrants are awful and graphic. Jacqueline's mother told police she often tied Jacqueline up in zip ties. According to those same warrants, Jacqueline tried to run away twice, but was caught each time. September 19th, 2024. That's the day Carla Garcia, Jacqueline Torres Garcia's mother, told her sister the 11-year-old had died, according to search warrants. Police found the remains of Jacqueline on October 8th in a container behind the back of an abandoned New Britain home. That day, Channel 3 shot video of Carla Garcia being taken into police custody as people nearby shouted, "Where's the girl?" Police interviewed Carla Garcia over the next 2 days. Garcia told them she and her boyfriend, Jonathan Nanita, had stopped feeding Jacqueline 2 weeks prior to her death. She also admitted to previously restraining Jacqueline in zip ties as punishment for when she was acting bad. Garcia told police her sister, Jacqueline Garcia, had even sent her a photo of Jacqueline when she was lying on the floor on pee pads, restrained in zip ties. Jacqueline Garcia admitted to taking the photo sometime in the summer of 2024. Carla Garcia went on to tell police that after Jacqueline died, Nanita brought Jacqueline's body downstairs, but she wasn't sure what to do with it. She stated the odor from the decaying body was so strong, they had to leave their residence in Farmington and stay with friends or at hotels. The couple moved back to New Britain in March 2025, taking the body with them. She claims most of the punishments directed toward Jacqueline were under the direction of Nanita. Garcia had plans to go on a podcast to talk about what happened to Jacqueline prior to her arrest on October 12th. Carla Garcia, Jonathan Nanita, and Jacqueline Garcia are all charged in Jacqueline's death. Jacqueline Garcia told police that Jacqueline Torres Garcia had run away twice, was caught and restrained in zip ties as punishment. What else did Jacqueline Garcia witness? That part of the story coming up at 6. Your chief investigative reporter, Sam Smink, Channel 3.
Terrible, heartbreaking. I mean, the little girl ran away twice. Can you imagine running away twice? And I don't know what happened in those incidents where I don't know where she ran to. It's just heartbreaking. I don't know that I want to know. I mean, can you imagine running and just in that little girl's mind? I mean, she was 11, I believe, at the time. They said 12 in some cases, but then we found out she would have been 12 if it had just happened on October whenever they found her. But then we found out she had actually passed in September of 2024. And so she was 11. And you just think, like, one, how old was she when she ran away? If she was 11 when she ran away, I'm sure she was trying to find an officer or something like that. Like, maybe there needs to be more in the schools where they tell the kids if you need help. I mean, I'm sure they tell them, if something's going on at home or whatever. But it's like, if you're ever in a situation, I don't know. I don't know what needs to happen because clearly the little girl ran away twice. CPS was involved in this case. I mean, in this with this family multiple times, as we talked about whenever I covered this case in the beginning. They were involved multiple times in this little girl's life and her. I think she had siblings as well, and nothing was done. And then for the mother to send a picture to her sister, let me tell you something. First of all, I would never do something like that to a child. But I'm telling you what, if I was ever sick in my head, demented, and did something like that to a child and sent a picture to my sister would be on her way here and already called the fucking police and been like, what would have snatched my ass up? Like, what are you doing? I mean, she was literally restrained and laying on pee pads. because she was restrained and couldn't get up to go to the bathroom even. Yeah, my family would have turned my ass in and they'd have been here before the police were even able to be here. Like, I don't get that shit. And the sister has been charged as well because clearly she was at least at least complicit in it, you know. I just don't understand how people can obviously the sister knew a lot about this because the mother of the child would not have felt comfortable enough, in my opinion, to send that type of picture unless they knew it was going to be well received or at least not badly received. And it's just, we find out more and more of these cases of these children that are in, the little girl was in a basement. The smell got so bad. The smell was so bad that they had to stay with friends and stay at a hotel and things like that. They stopped feeding the little girl for 2 weeks before she passed away. And it was all allegedly under the control of her boyfriend. So basically, you felt like you were giving your man what he wanted by abusing your children. You were that desperate for a freaking man that you did this to your children for a man. Sick. It's sick is what it is. Ugh, it's just awful. There was a couple I was gonna show you guys a video, but we've been on here for like an hour and 17 minutes already. But did anybody hear about this couple that was arrested? They had taken a trip to I guess the female had got obsessed with this family online that was in states away. This couple was from Washington State, and they had I think it was Wisconsin or somewhere. They had taken a trip. Maybe I'm wrong on the state, but they had taken a trip states away to try to go and kidnap these kids that they wanted, and they wanted a kid to be a slave in the carnal fashion, if you will. And they got obsessed. They even got obsessed with a local family, and they even had medication to drug them and were going and even got around them at one point, and they were going to rug the whole family so that they could kidnap the children. Not only that, but the woman tried to say that all of this was for the man and it was all him and he was the one doing it and all these things. But they found on the woman's phone where she had been in like bathrooms and things like that where kids were changing into swimsuits and things, and she was recording like under the stall, and they were able to see her tattoos in some of it, and they were able to tell that it was obviously her recording it and not him. But do you know how they got caught? They uploaded child porn photos onto a Google Drive. And of course, anything like Google Drive, Apple iCloud, um, what is it called? The Dropbox, any of those things, they have basically a contract with the federal government that if anything comes across their servers that has anything to do with something like that, it reports it. It's like automatic, it's coded into their software that anything like that that comes along, it will go through. Um, but they had done these trips. I mean, they had all these elaborate plans. They had written out plans on how to kidnap a child. They had a secret room in their house. I mean, it just goes on and on. Let me uh see, let's see. But yeah, voyeurism was a big thing. I mean, they were just, you think about like there's predators everywhere, but you think about two predators because in most cases it does seem like um it's one or the other, like one person telling the other, but this couple seems to be like they're both that way. And you think about two predators getting together, how dangerous that is. It's just awful. This case was just so bad. Let's see. Okay, let me show you this. This is just a short video. I had a longer video, but this is just a short one.
Begin with a shocking case out of Pierce County where a couple is accused of planning to kidnap young children. Prosecutors charged the two 28-year-old suspects today with attempted kidnapping and multiple counts of possession of child sex abuse material. Fox 13's Matthew Smith is in our newsroom with the details.
Sabir, this is a truly disturbing story, and while we're trying to avoid some of the most heinous details in this case, we are talking about allegations of child sex abuse attempts and attempted kidnapping of young would-be victims. So I do want to warn our viewers, this is a disturbing story. And with all that said, Pierce County Sheriff's deputies did capture the arrest of both Haley Davidson and William Moore II at their home in Yelm on body camera.
Police, search warrant, open the door! Police, search warrant, open the door!
And that would lead to both of those suspects eventually being taken into custody. Court documents obtained by Fox 13 explain how a cyber tip about hundreds of uploads to Google containing child sex abuse material originally tipped off the investigators. Now, detectives traced those uploads to a joint Google account shared by Davidson and Moore. And once they pinpointed their address and began a search, investigators say they discovered handwritten notes with instructions on how they could kidnap children, something Moore even admitted to writing. Now, investigators believe the plan was to put a victim into a storage bin, then put that bin into a storage container and keep those children drugged for days. Documents go on to say that a note read, quote, "Drive normally to the middle of nowhere. I'll meet you there. We'll put her in my car. You jump in into normal clothes. Act normal. We'll take her to the shop. Make sure she's knocked out the whole time," end quote. The deputies also say they found 8 bottles of a prescription-grade sedative, which neither of the suspects had ever been prescribed. Now, both of those suspects appeared in court this afternoon on charges of attempted kidnapping in the first degree, attempted child molestation in the first degree, and 9 counts of possession of child sex abuse materials. Detectives say Davidson told them that Moore was actively stalking 2 families with children that he had talked about kidnapping. She said they even took a road trip to Wisconsin 2 years ago to try to find a very specific family he was obsessed with. Detectives believe it was only a matter of time until a young child would have become their victim.
Some of the communication that was located, found, and some of the evidence shows that they have been communicating with local children and families in our community.
Now, hard to believe, but it gets worse. Inside the couple's bedroom closet, detectives say they found a panel in a wall that led to a hidden void with what appeared to be a shrine dedicated to child sex abuse material. We've also learned that there were multiple videos shot under a bathroom stall as girls changed in and out of swimsuits, with visible arm tattoos tying that video and the person taking them to Haley Rose Davidson. Now, both Davidson and William Moore are currently being held in jail on a $2.5 million bond.
I mean that case, and it's just gonna get worse too. The more they uncover, I mean, if you're brazen enough to not only, first off, you're sick enough to even do that, but if you're brazen enough to upload that shit to Google, like this isn't the dark web. This isn't. You're not in like. Uh, it's just crazy to me. I mean, they're uploading this shit to Google. What are they doing? Like they're literally planning trips. They did go on a trip. Let me not say planning. They went on the trip because she had got obsessed with this family. I think it was a mom and 2 kids that she had met online or been in the same circles with online or something. They took the trip and they were planning. They had it all written out. They had, like I said, they had the secret room in their house. Like such bizarre things. So I may do maybe a deep dive into that story about all the stuff they had. I mean, then they busted in their house. They had a whole shrine. No, they did not actually kidnap any children that they know of yet. But they did take that trip and they were unsuccessful. And then they were around a local family, I think more than a few times. But in one incident where they were around this family, they had like crushed up medication of some sort that they were going to give them to they had decided that they were going to rug the whole family, and they had even talked about how they, in this handwritten, it was handwritten instructions on like their abduction and how they were going to do it. The handwritten instructions were basically saying like, we want to make sure that they're knocked out for the entirety of it, and just all kinds of really sickening stuff. And then, like I said, she tried to blame him and say it was all him and all this, but the videos of the voyeurism stuff, they could tell that it was her taking the videos. And so it's just crazy. I even heard of a case where, and I just heard of it tonight when I was looking up a few videos, where a mother basically took pictures or did videos of herself doing things to her children for this man and was sending the pictures to the man. And I think she got busted because of Dropbox, because she was uploaded like she didn't realize that her phone automatically uploaded to Dropbox, I guess. And so while she was taking the videos, I guess they automatically uploaded to Dropbox, and then that went straight to the FBI, or whatever handles. I would assume it's FBI. It went straight to the federal government, to put it that way. And so, yeah, thank God that her phone uploaded, because that kid, I'm sure, got out of that situation. But the fact that you would do that to your own children, again, for a man, for any reason, but for a man, like, what? Like, Yeah, Tina. I mean, she was doing the voyeurism stuff. She was like taking videos of these young girls that were like changing into their swimsuits, or they were using the restroom, or whatever the case may be. What's crazy to me is how no one saw her, because they said they described it as, obviously the videos are child porn, but the way they described it was she was putting the phone like under the stall, like she would be in the stall next to them, I guess, and putting the phone, like, I don't know how anybody didn't notice that, because maybe I'm just paranoid and pay attention or observant or whatever you want to call it, but I feel like I would notice that for sure. I don't know. There's just so many cases. Sorry to, bombard you with like 7 cases or updates tonight, but there was a lot. There's been a lot happened, and the cruise ship, that, I mean, all the stories. Dickens with, now we find out that he, just to recap what we've talked about, the TikToker girl La La La, uh, that the Tesla recorded her final moments. Um, the D4 case. Now he is a suspect, and they found out that he went to that remote location and stayed for hours around April. Mimi Torres, sadly, we've now found out her cause of death, and the fact that they literally starved her, had her restrained, had pictures of her on pee pads. I mean, it's awful. The cruise ship, 18-year-old, was on the trip with her dad and her step sibling, stepmother. They found her stuffed underneath the bed with life jackets and blankets and things on her. They're basically saying that the suspect is maybe the step sibling. And in a weird move, there's been no charges in this case. However, the stepmother has put a motion in with court, which I didn't even know you could do this before charges, but she's put a motion in with court that she will not have to testify if, this goes to trial or whatever the case may be. Um, then we have the influencer that got the sweetheart deal. She got 3 to 9 years after she mowed down a family walking across the street, a mother holding her children's hands, 3 children to be exact. 2 of the children and the mother passed away. Sadly, the 4-year-old that was walking with them did not. But she got 3 to 9 years, so she will serve as little as 3 years for what she did. And she was taking a selfie video while she was doing it. Um, and yeah, so I think, oh, and then this couple, of course. But I think that's just a recap. That's with the stories. Oh, so awful. But I'll keep you guys updated. And of course, I will see you next Tuesday for another episode of True Crime with me, your host, Feminine and Fierce. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. And if you hang out for malarkey, I will see you soon. Bye.